In this step, we're going to be taking our PaintPot app that we've used and we're going to extend it a bit more. At the moment, it's just going to draw a very small dot, but what if I want it to be a bigger dot? So I'm going to go into my blocks designer just so I've got it ready and waiting for us. And that can be, what we can do here is we can say, well, I want it to be determined based on what I've got. If I go to my built-in palette at the top here, you've got what we call a variable draw. Now a variable is just a placeholder, it's a thing in memory that lives, and it says, well, I want this to live inside. So in this case I'm going to call initialize a global variable, and I'm going to call it something that I want. In this case I'm going to leave name as is, but I might actually call it small, make it a small dot. Okay, and I might want a number in there, so I'm just going to put number 2. I don't need to add these to any of these because it's global, and what I mean by that is this code will run regardless of any of this that is running. Okay, now obviously if we've got a small, we might want a bigger block. So what I might do here is I might say, well, what if I wanted my dot size to be bigger? What if I wanted it to be smaller? Okay, so let's make a variable. We're going to call it, in this case we're going to call it big, and our value is 8. And I'm going to create another one just so that we can say, well, I want my dot size, the dot that's going to be on my screen, and I just want it to 2 for now. I don't want it to be super big. Okay, what I might do is do some organization of my code, just so that I know what's going on, and make some more space for some more code. Okay, now what's happening here is we are saying I want small, big, and dot size to exist. I want them to run, but I'm not going to process them. They've been processed in the background, don't get me wrong, but they are going to be sitting there ready for us to add some more code in. So how might we do that? We might say, well, I might want it to handle different sizes or different values. So if we go and have a look at our touch event here, okay, we've got X, we've got Y, we've got touch sprite. Now what we could do is if we go back into our variables, we've got what we call get. Okay, but this time, if I show you on this one, we've now got global big, dot size is small. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to say, well, when my canvas has been touched, we're going to replace the number 5, and we're going to call the get dot size value in. So I'm going to just bring it out and delete it, duplicate a get block, and I'm just going to say, well, actually what I want it to do is dot size, well, I want to make it a global one. I want to make it global. Okay, so what it will do is it will say, well, actually, I'm going to grab whatever value is living in dot size, which in this case is 2, and it will simply make it nice and small. And you can also change that value to whatever you want it to be. So I've got it set to 2 there, and I might say, well, actually, I might want to have it bigger or smaller, but that's okay. Now what I could do is I might want to say, well, actually, in my designer view, I might want to change those values. I might want to make those bigger or smaller. So how could you do that? So one way you could do that is saying, well, actually, when I want to, might want to have a button that says, well, when I've clicked it, I want to make it bigger or smaller. So what we need to do is actually bring in another arrangement. So I'm going to bring in another horizontal. Okay, and I'm just going to create 2 more buttons, and I'm going to say, well, I want to make it bigger, and I might want to make it smaller. So my button 1, I'm just going to call small button, And I'm just going to put smaller. Button 2, I might call it big button. And I might call it saying that the text for this will be bigger. Okay, there are our controls there. Okay. So we've got those buttons in. They are there. They're ready to go. Okay. They're ready to rock. And what we can do is we can rename this horizontal arrangement if we want to. We can say, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to call it bottom, bottom, button. And that just says, well, that's where our bottom button's living. We don't need to worry about that. We can make the width for parent again, and if I really want to, I can move it to the middle, make it nice and equal. If I then go back to my blocks view, I can then say, well, when my button small has been clicked, what do I want it to do? Well, in this case, I want it to get my small value, or set it, and get the smaller one, or the bigger value. So what I can do is I can go, well, button big. Let's say I want to set that value. So in this case, set my global dot size to whatever the big value is. So in this case, I'm going to say get. So I'm using my blocks here, and I'm saying get global big. That's it. That's my small one. Oh, that should be small. And I can do the same for my big button as well. I can say, well, big button, get my dot size and set that to the global big one. So, once you've done that, try out that code, okay? So you should see that now after this, your buttons and your lines should be bigger or smaller depending on how far you get. Again, if you're stuck, just ask Seth for some help. Thanks for watching.